Okay, hello. Why are you watching this video? 1, to prepare for your pickle dissection. 2, because you never turned in a safety contract, so you're going to use my video to do your pickle dissection. So here we go. I'm going to show you what I have because I am ready to get started. So I have my directions sheet. So do you see? I have that. I give that to you, so that's easy peasy. Okay. I have pickles. All right. You won't have a whole jar. You'll have a single pickle. I have a plate. I have a knife. I have three little map pins. Okay, I just tried to drop one. Okay, and I have my body plane labels. Okay, so they look like this. All right, and I also have the labels that I'm going to use once I do the dissection. Now you see I paired mine just as I'm getting them set up. So I paired these two because these two go together. And these two go together. And finally, these two go together. All right, so I have those all ready. So I'm ready to get started. I hope you're ready to follow with me. Okay, so direction number 1, place a pickle on a plate. Pickle, plate. So I'm going to put the pickle on the plate. It says, please note that the stem end of your pickle is superior. So just see right there, see the stem? That's the superior end. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I continue. Now using my 3 map pins, so I have these right here. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of adjust the camera, so give me a moment. Okay, so it says to put my 3 map pins in an appropriate location for 2 eyes and an umbilicus. So this is by the stem end, so I'm going to put my 2 eyes up there by the stem end. And umbilicus. Umbilicus means your belly button, so that's kind of be mid-ish down. This would be all the way at the feet. I don't want it here. That would be at the head. So we'll say right here. All right. So there's my pickle with the map pins. Okay. Okay. Next it says to name my pickle. So I have an index card and I'm going to choose a name. So I'm going to name this pickle Jelly. So what I need to do is take that name, put it with my pickle, and take a picture. Okay, that's that direction. So now I am on step 5. So I'm going to move this aside. I'll need that again, but let's move it aside. Using a knife, carefully cut along a transverse plane halfway between the eyes and umbilicus. Okay, so transverse plane goes like this. Okay, so I'm going to take my knife, okay, and I'm going to cut along a transverse plane about halfway between the eyes and the umbilicus. Right there. Okay, transverse plane. Okay. Then it says get the transverse label. So there's my transverse label. I'm going to put that in the picture, transverse. Okay, let's make sure we can see it. Okay, transverse. I'm going to get the name of my pickle again, and I'm going to put that in the picture as well. I need all of that in the picture. So then I would take a picture. Then it says, look at the cut edge. What are 2 body parts that could be seen along that cut edge? So imagine, think about your body between your eyes and your umbilicus. If you were to cut about halfway, what are some body parts you might see? Okay, think about that because you're going to list those. And then so you're going to label superficial and deep. Now, if you don't want to write out the words, you can add them in the picture and just add labels. Or you can simply, when you're building the PowerPoint, put these labels in, okay? So for anyone who might be using this video, I will just lay superficial and deep here, so then all you would have to do is use arrows pointing to label those correctly. All right, so now let's move on. Let's move superficial and deep. We're done with that one. Let's move transverse. We're done with that one. Let's set aside my name. I will need that again. So now it says get the inferior half of your pickle. So I'm going to set the superior half aside, and I'm only going to look at the inferior half. Okay, and it says using the knife, carefully cut along a coronal plane. All right, coronal means, okay, so look at me for a minute. Coronal means like this, separating the front from the back. Okay, so I'm going to have to cut this pickle to separate the front from the back. Okay, so I'm going to have to think about like this. Right? I'm going to have to hold the pickle up to cut down like that. Okay, so you can see I have my front half and my back half. Okay, like that. All right, so I think I like it set like that so I can see which is which. Okay, so you can tell. And you can still see my little superior half here, so you know I cut the right one. All right, now get a coronal label. So now I need to get the right, here we go. Here's coronal. So I need this label. I'm going to put this at the top, coronal label. All right, and I need to put my name of my pickle back in the picture. There we go. All right, so then I take a picture. I can additionally add the labels. So what labels do I need here? I need anterior and posterior. Okay, so remember, anterior front half, posterior, like not front half, but front side, and posterior the back. So I'm going to put these labels here. In case you want to grab a picture and you don't have to add the labels, you would just have to add arrows. Okay. Okay, so coronal, right? I cut like this. Okay, but remember I cut the lower half. All right, so remember I cut halfway between the eyeballs and the umbilicus. So what are two body parts that will be visible with that kind of cut? Okay, think about that. That's what you're going to have to write down. So now I've finished with anterior and posterior, and I'm finished with coronal. I will need this name again, so set that aside. Now I can set my inferior half aside, and let's look at my superior side. So using the knife, cut along a mid-sagittal plane. So look at me for a minute. Mid-sagittal, like this. Okay, this right down the midline. Okay, so back here, so mid-sagittal. So that would be literally midline. So I'm going to need to go between the eyes. So I'm going to cut mid-sagittally. It's going to go kind of right through that stem. Okay, perfect. There is my mid-sagittal cut. Okay. All right, just trying to get that to lay nicely. There we go. Okay. Now I need my pickle name label. Okay. I also need to label mid-sagittal. That's what I cut. Mid-sagittal. Okay. There we go. Mid-sagittal. Now I can take a picture here and add my other labels later. What am I adding? Superior and inferior. Okay. Superior toward the top, inferior toward the bottom. So I can add these in just for anyone who wants to take a picture. And all you would need is to add the arrows. Okay. Okay, now on the top half of the pickle, right, the superior half, we cut mid-sagittally. Mid-sagittally means right along the midline. And since we use the superior half, we're doing from the very top of the head to about halfway between the eyeballs and the umbilicus. So if you were to slice mid-sagittally and look inside, what are two body parts you would see there? So think about it. So there we go. All my labels are done. Okay, so I'm going to set my mid-sagittal aside. In class, these are going to be laminated, so they're going to be reused. This I won't need again. Okay, I am going to save the map pins. There's no need to throw those out. Also, no need to throw the knife out. Okay, so you're going to follow those directions and throw out the plate and the cut pickle. Okay, Belle decided to come and participate at the end. Okay, also in class, I will provide gloves because they smell a little bit like pickle. So it might be a little congested for having every student trying to wash their hands as we leave. So there will be gloves if you prefer to use gloves so your hands don't smell like pickles. But that is the pickle dissection.